TVs?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Hey, I got on them a little bit. Yeah, that's a whole segment.
All right. I think we're good.
All right. So, WTF, DFW, where's the fun? Welcome back, episode 14. So, let's see what's going on. Well, just a quick little update. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about our friend Laura, who started her chemo journey. She's actually just got word that she's able to go back to work on Wednesday while she's still doing her chemo.
Wow.
But apparently, she's kicking its ass. And for them to allow her to go back to work, even with the Red Devil chemo that she's on, which is super strong, like, it's weird. Like, she's got to flush the toilet twice after she goes to the bathroom because that is poison.
Oh,
And,
wow.
it could burn other people's skin and all.
Jeez.
But they're removing all those restrictions from her. So, keep kicking ass, Laura. We love you. So let's see. Last week we talked about consistency and persistence. And we mentioned, anywhere from working out to, guitar lessons and making sure you're practicing and always trying to improve, to your band performance and putting in the work to, not only build your fan base, but then retain them and being consistent with your performance and not looking like, you're bored up there and just going through the motions and all. So that was last week's conversation. It was kind of interesting. And it sparked some conversations with our friends that we saw over the weekend and all, but loved it. But let's see, before we even get into this week's topic, so recap last week, we had live band karaoke on Wednesday with Shannon Cobb. I missed that last week, so unfortunately, we had plans. But Thursday was Vinyl Countdown. I said, I can't wait to see them. Last time I had to race back from Dallas, and I showed up just as their last song was ending. So they played last Thursday, and I missed it. I don't know what it is and why I can't get to see Vinyl Countdown, but something always happens on the day that they're playing. So I will get this. They are back at some point, so I will get to see them at some point during this year. But then Friday we had King George with Justin Myers, a little bit of country music out there. And Saturday, I did make it out Saturday, we saw Vital Signs, that Survivor tribute. And really, really good. And what's interesting, I told my wife, you don't realize how much, how rock-based they are. Because everybody thinks, the song Eye of the Tiger and it destroyed that band. But they really are a good rock and roll band. Incredible singer, but this band, Vital Signs, nailed it, and nailed their entire catalog. They opened up for the Dallas-Boston experience, and it was the first time I've actually seen that band perform. Wow, they're incredible. And
Boston.
The Boston experience, yeah. Dallas-Boston, is the guitarist, I mean, everybody in that band super talented. The singer, I'm comfortable in my manhood. He's a good-looking guy. He's got beautiful, long blonde hair.
You gotta be careful.
The women are like, oh.
P. Diddy out there.
So he's, but even my wife and I were talking to him afterwards, and my wife's like, I'm just gonna say, you just have beautiful hair. Yeah. And he's like, it's like you never get tired of hearing that stuff, but he says. My wife's over there, she's doing this, and he's like, she comes to these shows, and I never know, whether or not she's going to give me a kiss, hi and a hug, or she's going to pee on my leg and mark her territory.
Jesus, yeah.
And I've never heard that before. That was brilliant, but super nice guy.
We'll put that in the movie.
Incredible singer and all of that, so I can't wait to see the Dallas-Boston experience again, and Vital Signs. So it was a great week that we had out. So this week, our conversation, it's funny, we have our typical, bar drinking conversations that kind of pop in there. And last week, it was Don, Dwayne, this guy Mac, and I were just sitting there, and the Eagles came on. And Dwayne was like, oh, the Eagles are my favorite band. And I said, I like the Eagles, but I like Don Henley better than the Eagles,
Yeah.
And it brought about an interesting conversation. It was like, well, and then I started thinking, Don Henley may have actually been more popular as a solo artist than the Eagles. And it's a tough comparison there because they were in two different markets and all, but I think people underestimate, Don Henley. Then I started thinking about, well, what other popular bands had people leave and start another band
The Beatles.
and became more popular?
Paul McCartney.
I have them. So we started creating a list, and I'm not gonna because I want to hear what other people think. But the Beatles with Paul McCartney is one of them. The reason I'm not saying John Lennon, I think had he lived longer,
Yeah, maybe.
He would have been able to develop a catalog.
I think Paul McCartney is just badass. I really do.
Absolutely.
I
We
love
actually saw him live like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's funny. We were just hanging out. It was like a Wednesday night or a Thursday night. And we're like, what do you want to do tonight? And, it was just, we really didn't want to do anything. But my wife's like, Paul McCartney's playing and like where the Rangers were playing, their old stadium. And I said, just for a goof, see how much the tickets are. Well, we ended up getting 2 tickets. This is an hour and a half before the show. We got 2 tickets.
This is a cover band or the real Paul McCartney?
The real Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
So we were like 14th row on the floor.
Really?
Center stage. 2 tickets, I think, total between the two was like $85.
Man, that's too bad.
Like,
that's great.
like, it was incredible. And the guy played for like 3 hours straight.
Yeah,
It
he had
was-
so much in his. He has old Beatles stuff. He has
Absolutely.
the wings
or wings or whatever. But he would like tell stories and all, which I love, like these older artists do that. But yeah, he was incredible. But to me, like when I say, all right, who's, left a really popular band, started their own that were in some rights even better, but you think about Van Halen, David
Yeah.
Lee Roth
Yeah.
left and started his own band. And David Lee Roth didn't just go, he's like, I mean, how do you replace Eddie Van Halen? You find a guitarist that is arguably even better, it's Steve Vai.
That's probably got to be one of the biggest.
So, yeah, Steve Vai. Then you had Billy Sheehan, who's by far the greatest bass player that I think exists out there, and Greg Bissonette on drums. He created an incredible band. Then we thought Genesis,
Yeah.
Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel. They might have actually been more popular
Yeah,
after Genesis.
I think so, yeah.
Black Sabbath, they sprung Ozzy and Dio.
Yeah.
So
That's
Ozzy, he goes against, Randy Rhoads, then Jakey Lee, Zach Wilde. I mean, the guy built, even a guy from, I think played with them, Brad something,
Pitt.
I can't remember his name, but he played with them for a minute, or maybe that was with Dio. But, Dio ended up getting, Vivian Campbell and stuff. So I think both of those might have been more popular than Sabbath. I was thinking Montrose and Sammy Hagar, but maybe Montrose they weren't that big back in the day, but that was
Hagar was.
almost like before my time.
Sammy Hagar is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't
But as
he,
a solo
Cabo
artist,
Wabo?
then he became, Van Halen.
Yeah.
So I can't put him into that because Van Halen already existed. But
What about Ricky Martin?
so that was brought up
Yeah.
because he was in Menudo or something like that.
Yeah, boy band, yeah.
So he became more popular, and it's funny that you brought him up because I forgot to type that in. NWA, the rap group, NWA.
Oh, well, all of them, right?
Eazy-E,
Eazy-E,
Dr. Dre,
yeah.
Ice Cube,
Yeah.
Destiny's Child
But
with
then-
Beyonce.
But then that gets into a whole nother realm of everything.
Yep.
But because Dr. Dre then signed Eminem then signed.
Oh, yeah,
He keeps on
6
going
degrees
down.
of separation.
Jeez.
Like
where
we
all
thought
hip-hop
Fleetwood
came.
Mac with Stevie Nicks.
Oh, I love them.
The Runaways had Lita Ford and Joan Jett offshoot from that I think were more popular.
What about the pop? What is it? The Wild Thornberry? Not the Thornberry. That's the cartoon.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It had all the country.
But
stars in it.
that brought all the country stars together after I think they were all
Yeah,
popular
they were
already.
all big. Yeah. Merle Haggard and all that.
But then we said, like, all right, what about country? And so my wife started thinking, and she's like, well, Peter Wagner was a popular country artist, but his backup singer was Dolly Parton.
No way.
Yeah, so
Really?
I think everybody knows Dolly.
Did she become big?
I think she wrote 1 or 2 good songs.
Yeah.
Sugarland had Jennifer Nettles. you know, Sugarland was popular, but then Jennifer Nettles blew up. The Judds, and then
Yeah.
Winona
Yeah,
Judd
for
became
sure.
more popular, I think, than the Judds. We said Jackson 5, and then Michael Jackson, obviously. He became way more popular than Jackson 5.
Well, then there's Janet also, though. That's great.
Oh, Janet, too. Yeah, you're right. Well, she wasn't a Jackson 5.
She wasn't a Jackson 5. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, she was a Jackson, but and then the last one I wrote down was Wham with George Michael. You know, I think
I love George Michael.
I know he's like, and he became more popular after the Wham thing. But
That's funny because there's a musical, I guess, or a play or something like that out right now. It's for Moulin Rouge, and it has
oh, really?
and it has George Michael in it. That's what I thought because I was like, we got to go see this to all my buddies, and they're like, that's a hard no. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And I said, this would be great. I thought it was George Michael. I forgot that he's dead, first of all. It's Boy George.
Oh, Boy George.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get
Little bit
yeah.
of a difference. That's kind of funny. So,
Yeah, if that was George Michael doing that, I think that would be great. But
oh yeah.
it'd be hard for him now.
So those are like some of the ones that I thought about, and I don't know if anybody watching, listening, any of that, like you have your own thoughts. I'm curious, like
Yeah.
what other people think. You know, take some, not just somebody that is, you know, popular, but somebody who's created their own band or offshoot and became more, at least equal to, if not a little bit more popular than the band that they left. You know, so
That's probably
I'm just
gotta be
curious.
it. I think we probably hit it all.
There's a lot more, and I didn't document a lot of them, but I tried to cover every genre that I could think of.
Huh.
But I'm sure there are a ton that were like, oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm curious, anybody that's watching, just give us your thoughts. Let me know, you know, what you think. But it was kind of a pretty cool
Yeah,
bar
that's cool.
conversation.
Yeah,
And,
it's a
you know,
good
like we could
exercise.
talk hours about socks, you know, in a bar. Like dudes get together and the
I'll tell
topic
you, man,
makes
those
no
Bombas
sense.
socks are.
So yeah, let us know your thoughts and any bands that you could think of or musicians that became more popular after they left the original band that they were in. So, let's see, what do we got going on this week? Live band karaoke was last night. I'm a day late, you know, so live band karaoke, I was there last night, so that was cool. Tonight, we have Honcho the band, so G and Honcho and them. That should be a pretty cool night. Tomorrow, that band Iconic returns, and my God, I can't blow up a band enough. You know, like I absolutely love Iconic. Everything they do in their stage performance, and again, they're not one type of music, they're everything.
They were just here, right?
They were here for my birthday in January, so I will blame it on the alcohol. But they were really good, you know, like everybody had a great time, everybody that came out. So this is your chance. Remember, it was packed last time they were in there. And then I guess Saturday we got Back in Time, the Huey Lewis tribute. I think this might be one of their last shows. The band is going to downsize a little bit, but they're celebrating a wedding out there as well, I believe. And the band Empires is opening up for them. Now, Empires, people might know, I think his name is Bishop. Booker is the singer, but he's also in Emerald City. And then Empires does like some cover songs. But when I booked him, he said, which do you want? Do you want us to do covers or do you want original? I said, no, I want to hear your original
Yeah,
stuff.
that'd be good.
So I think like their history, they got a pretty dynamic history with the band themselves. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they got. So
Is that anything that? So that's an original band?
they're
Oh,
doing
okay.
their original band.
Because
Then.
there was a band called Course of Empire in the '90s,
Oh, okay.
out of Dallas. And they
They were originally another band, and I don't know the background story, but they were another band that had a bunch of originals, and from what I understand, they signed a deal
Yeah.
with a company, and the company took the rights to all of their music and
Oh,
never
shit.
actually released it. You
Really?
know, so, yeah. So I'm not entirely sure if it's, I'm almost positive that's Empire's background, but not 100% sure, so I'm going to try to get that information this weekend. And then, let's see, I
Did you
totally
say
forgot.
Genesis and Phil Collins?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Peter Gabriel.
Oh, Peter Gabriel, yeah. Peter
Yeah,
Gabriel.
he was the other one.
I think he's still big, though. He just came out with something not too long ago.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Who's
Maybe
that?
A couple few years ago.
Okay.
Peter Gabriel.
Oh, Shock the Monkey, all of that, I think, is Peter Green.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah. Let's see. So then next week we got live band karaoke again with Shannon. Major Keys. They do all like piano music, I guess. Major keys like keyboard. That's one of Terry Ronson's band. Next Friday, Back in Black with Ever the Essence. That was, in fact, I think I had both of them playing at a show last year together as well, and Christy Johnson and them were just floored, saying they don't really play with a lot of other bands, but to be able to play with Back in Black, the place was packed. I expect nothing less than next Friday to be slammed in there as well. Then Saturday night, good old Keith Mitchell band from Billy Bob's House Band is back, so you get to do your two-stepping and all of that next week. So remember this week, again, I said, Thursday tonight is Honcho, Iconic tomorrow, and then Back in Time Empires on Saturday. So, what else? We did close early for an NCR, a computer update system upgrade over at Fat Daddy's. And it didn't go as swimmingly as we wanted, so we were forced to close yesterday. And we're about 95%, but we are open. We were able to open for business and yesterday. And today, like all of the servers, we're expecting them to all be on a new tablet system. We'll be able to take payments for you at the table now. Turn the tablet around, let them, pay on the handheld, tip you, all of that stuff. But the idea is that, they ring in your stuff at the bar. Their drinks are being rung to the nearest bar. So if you're out on the patio, it's going to the patio, and the patio bartender, plural, we're going to have two out there, especially on Friday and Saturdays, so that one's working the well and one's working the main bar. But you won't have to be running inside. They could stay out there with their guests and obviously let the food be run by food runners and all. So the idea is to be able to keep the servers out at the tables more and not have to be in the back for anything or standing in line, waiting for drinks or running inside and backing up the inside bar because outside drinks are going into there. So we'll have actually 3 different wells, and depending upon what side of the floor you're on is what well bartender is going to be in there.
Basically, better service.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible service. If it's not, I'm going to murder somebody. But I'm looking forward to that.
Hold on, we got to do.
Oh yeah, not allowed to say murder. All right, Thompson's. Don't forget, come out, book your events out there. Your birthday gatherings, showers, engagement parties. Wedding rehearsals, anything. I think we had just 2 or 3 bookings over the past, 2 weeks or so that were like half floor buyouts or full floor buyouts for a couple of hours. And then I think on the 30th, somebody bought the building out on Tuesday the 30th. So We're actually going to be closed to the public, and we're hosting a party in there for a company for like 4 hours, 5 hours or so. So Marksman Firearms, the Guns of the Month, they're still doing incredible. We had a meeting with all of the GMs the other day, and they said these things are priced to sell. So Colleen, they have your Winchester SXP Marine Defender shotgun. It's a home defense shotgun for those that are curious, in either 12 or a 20 gauge.
It looks nice too.
Oh yeah, it's a good looking one. Granbury's got the HK VP9, and it's got a red dot on there. So Wichita Falls has a Chris Vector 45 ACP rifle. That's a badass rifle too. And then Mansfield's got an Anderson Patriot 5.56 in there. If you go to our website, check out the Guns of the Month for each of the gun stores. You could contact one that's close to you. We could ship that gun from one location to another if you need it, so you're not just bound by where the gun is located at now. And don't forget, we got construction on Capone's Drink Easy and Sports Bar, and we're still pending the last part of our construction permit to be approved, but that's any day now. So we're just waiting to break ground any day, and we're still hoping we have enough time to be able to be open by October, November of this year. So we'll see, but we'll play that by ear. Other than that, hope to see everybody out there at Fat Daddy's or Thompson's one of these days. you know I'm out there at either one of the locations, all random times here and there. So appreciate you following, liking, subscribing, share, the podcast if you can, share the links with, the people that kind of help promote us a little bit. But other than that, let's keep live music alive and well. So peace. Have a great week.